Hi, this is Teacher Chris. Welcome to Mathematically. In this video, we're going to talk about rational root theorem. We are going to list down all the roots, find the roots or the zeros of polynomial. When we say rational root theorem, we follow the format last term over the first term. So what is the last term of this one is 1 and the first term is 4. Again, we are just looking at the last and the first term. We're not minding the sign. So next thing we do after finding the last and the first term, we factor it out. Factor. When we say factor, we are just going to find numbers that if we multiply, it becomes the number that we're looking for. For example, 1. We don't have any factor of 1. That's why it's 1 times 1 is still 1. And then we factor out 4. We have here 4 times 1 and 2 times 2. We write 2 one time only because to eliminate the redundancy. So we have here, and then we pair them up. 1 over 4, 1 over 1, and 1 over 2. According to the rational root theorem, it must be the positive and the negative part. That's why we have here the positive and negative 1 part, the positive and negative 1 over 1, and the positive negative 1/2. This is the first one. We already list down all the possible root. Possible, meaning this some of the given roots will be the zeros or the roots of the given polynomial, but not all. Next thing is we need to find the zeros of polynomial. We can use the synthetic division. So let me rewrite this one first. Positive 1, negative 1 over 1 is the same as positive negative 1. Positive negative 1/4 and positive negative 1/2. Let me use first the positive 1. We have here 4, 3, and negative 1. Bring down 4. 4 times 1 is 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 times 1 is 7. And this is 6. So 1 is not the roots because the remainder must be 0. Let's use negative 1. Bring down 4. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. 3 plus negative 4 is negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. And then we have here 0. Therefore, negative 1 is one of the roots. Next, we have here 4 and negative 1. So we can now do the shortcut 4x minus 1. Why 4x minus 1? From 2, it becomes 1 because we already find the first x is equals to 0, and then we equate it to 0. 4x transposing negative 1 to the other side, we have here 1. Then divide both sides by 4 by isolating x. And x here is equals to positive 1/4. As you can see, we have two values of x's. X as negative 1 and x as 1/4. And we can also find it at the list that we have. Again, whenever we are dealing with the rational root theorem, for us to be able to solve is we list down all the roots, possible roots. So list it down. We use the L over F or the last term over the first term, and we need to find its factor. First thing we do is to list down the first term over the last term, and then we factor it out. The first term factor of 1 is itself, so I don't need to write 1 anymore. This is 1 only. Over 4, factors of 4 is 4 times 1, 4 and 1, and then 2 times 2. I write 2 ones only, and then I just pair them up. 1/4, 1 over 1, and 1/2. And then simplify. 1 over 1 is the same as 1, so I write it positive negative 1, positive negative 1/4, and positive negative 1/2. And then afterwards, I use synthetic division to find out whichever numbers from the given list is the possible zero, or the is the zeros itself. When I use 1, the remainder is 6, so 1 cannot be the zero. And then when I use -1, I found out that the remainder is 0. Therefore, -1 is one of the factor. And then I equate 4 minus 1 as 4x minus 1. From x squared, I find out the first x. That's why it becomes x only, minus 1. And then I equate it to 0. It was to 4x is equals to 1. Transposing 1 to the other side. And dividing both sides by 4 to isolate x. X here is equals to 1/4. On our next example, we deal with x cubed plus 3x squared minus 10x minus 24 is equals to 0. By the way, the highest degree determines how many zeros do we have. So we have here 3 zeros. So first, let's work with the rational root theorem. Rational root theorem states that we need to get the last term over the first term. The last term here is 24. The first term here is 1. So after getting the first and the last term, we factor it out. What are the factors of 24? 1 and 24. 2 and 12, because 2 times 12 is 24. 3 and 8. 4 and 6. 7, 8. Okay, that's all the factors of 24. We have here also factors of 1, which is still 1. Let me rearrange the term. We have here 1, 2, I just rearrange it, 4, then 6, then 8, then 12, then 24 over 1. And again, according to the rational root theorem, I just get the I just need to pair it out and get the positive and the negative side. Positive -1, positive -2, positive -3, positive -4, positive -6, positive -8, positive -12, and positive -24. These are the list of all possible roots, but we're just looking for the three roots. So we can use trial and error. We can just use each and every number here. But let me proceed with, if x is 1, we cannot get 0. If x is 2, how about if x is -2? I just pick some numbers. By the way, any numbers will do. Then I use synthetic. We have here 1. 1 times -2 is -2. That's 1. 1 times -2 is -2. -12. -12 is positive 24. And that's we have here 0. Again, we can use this method or the shortcut if and only if we have 2 remaining zeros. We have here already found 1. We can now do the shortcut here. We have here, we can now rewrite x squared plus x minus 12 equals to 0. Factoring out, if you will remember quadratic equation, we factor out -12 or the last term if and only if a is equals to 1. Factor 12 such that if we combine, we get the middle term, which is 1. We have here 4 times -3. 4 times -3 is -12. 4 plus -3 is 1. We have x plus 4 and x minus 3. We equate it to 0. That's why we have here x is equals to -4 and x is equals to +3. Therefore, our roots will be -2, +3, and -4. This will be our final answer. Again, whenever we are dealing with this kind of equation, for us to be able to use the rational root theorem, we first get the last term over the first term. 24 over 1 is equals to the factors of the first term over the factors of the last term, and then we simplify, and then we look for the number that will make the remainder be 0 because we're looking for the factors. And then after finding it out using the synthetic, I used -2, and then I found that -2 is one of the zeros. We can also try 1 and -1, but as I said, it is not a factor because the remainder will not be 0. And then we have +2, the same goes, and then the -2. Afterwards, we can now do the shortcut here because we already tackled the quadratic, finding the factors of quadratic equation. So we have here x squared plus x minus 12. According to that video, if a is equals to 1, therefore we can just factor out the last term, which is -12, such that if we combine, we're going to have +1. Therefore, the factor will be 4 and -3. Why 4 and -3? If we multiply 4 and -3, we are going to have -12. But if we combine, we have x or 1. So we have here x plus 4 and x minus 3 is equals to 0. We equate both sides to 0. That's why we have here x as -4 and x as +3. Therefore, the list or the numbers that we're looking for will be -2, 3, and -4. That's all for this video. Thank you.